What are three things you want people to remember about CDS Visual?
So I think, Frank, number one is that CDS is focused on releasing CAD assets into the rest of the enterprise, right? So you take those CAD assets that were locked up in your PLM or your PDM system or your engineering department, right? How do you get those out to serve sales, marketing, support, training, field service? And obviously, when I say sales, I'm talking about CPQ or commerce. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is we do the hard stuff around engineering, right? We're a bunch of engineers that now do software, and it's the ETO, visual engineer to order. I need to draw things, I need to move things around on the screen in order to complete my configuration. It might be a window in a building, it might be a machine on the floor, layouts or whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's number two, and then number three is really the portfolio of products, right? That we now possess by adding on a couple of products with Dover, right? So, we've done the CPQ visualization, we've done the engineer to order in the past. Now we have Mentor, CDS Mentor, which is learning, right? Immersive learning with 3D, okay? And using those same CAD assets that you use, right? And this is all self-serve. So this is one place that CDS has changed. I didn't actually mention that during our talk, but in reality, that's another place that's fantastic, right? So our whole self-serve platform. We don't need to be doing the work. Yes, the professional services work, and then finally, there's Partible, which is 3D and 2D spare part solution. Okay, so those are the portfolio products that we have today.
Excellent. So in this case, I think would be a good time to look at the product, right? And have a little demo, because especially with the visual product, I think it helps everyone to understand what it is. So let's go ahead and let's do that.
Hi, Frank. So now I'm going to share a couple of demos with you. Today we're going to start with CDS visualization inside of CPQ from Logic and Salesforce. This is built in collaboration with Pierce Washington, Logic, and CDS putting this together. We're going to use this pump model. When I start the recording here, you'll see some changes going on. They're going to change the color on this model. They're going to change this end piece, for watch for that. And you'll see how just seamless the integration is between our Logic configuration here and CDS. So I'm going to start the recording now. And you'll see here users taking a look at the product, right? They're going to reach up and they're going to make a change to the material of the product. Now they're going to make a change to the end piece here, the connector. And they're going to ask for a quote. Now we're going to put the data from the pump that we selected, that we configured, into the quote. This data is coming, of course, from Logic. But now you'll see the drawing included in here as well. And this is, a very simplified model. We did this just to demonstrate, but CDS does highly complex models all the way through manufacturing level drawings. But this example just shows you how seamless it is to create a configuration in Logic, have you be able to see that change happen in visualization, and then get the drawing out right away, and that drawing syncs directly to the quote package. Okay, so now we're going to take that same model and we're going to get spare parts for that same product. So this is the same product we configured a few moments ago. Imagine now it's been in the field for a long time. User needs a replacement part, puts in the specific serial number of that model. That model is, you can't just put the model number in, because the individual serial number was configured directly by the user and might be different than another exact configuration. You might have the same model. So the serial number is important. So user places that serial number and does a search, and they're going to find the exact same model that we looked at before. Okay, they're going to be able to explode this model and use the model tree here to see where things are and how they're put together and to pick the parts that they want to order. This is a CDS Partable that we're looking at here, which is our spare part solution. Here he's going to click on the impeller shaft assembly, and I think that's all he's going to order here. He doesn't really want another product, so he's going to get that impeller shaft and make that order, put it right in the cart. It's as seamless as that. And now the user has ordered the part, can put it in their cart and can now use, in this case, Salesforce Commerce Cloud to order the part, because that's what this is built upon. Okay, so that's Partable integrated with Salesforce Commerce Cloud from the same model that came from our previous configuration. So I just want to show the same pump model, and now we're displayed to show you what it's like to use CDS Mentor. Mentor, as I mentioned earlier, is our 3D immersive learning tool. There's a whole back end for this for the admin to create animations and create the assembly instructions and so on. Here, I'm just going to act as an end user, and you'll see here I have a 3D model. It's the same model. We're talking about pump disassembly in English. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, okay? And, really the first thing that happens here is that we get the PPP gear that we want. That's required for the thing. I'm going to move to the next step real quick. And here we're going to do a quick inspection. So it's going to show me things to look at, what I want to inspect on the pump itself. Any set of instructions can go here, okay? The next step will be start the disassembly process. And you'll see here that the parts are coming off, disassembly parts. And you'll also notice this, it might be a little bit difficult for the first time for the user to really know. It's pretty fast, what's really happening there. So we're going to replay the step, but I want to look at it a little bit differently. Maybe I want to zoom in on some aspect of this while the disassembly process is going on. So I can repeat any of the instructions just by hitting the play button again, and it'll show me, and I can do that from any angle. So that's a huge advantage over a YouTube video. I think we've all been stuck where we see somebody on the video is, undoing a bolt. We can't tell exactly what bolt it is, but there's no other way to look at the angle that the person is. Here you can zip this thing to any angle you want and run the instruction again. You make it as big or as small as you want. Okay, well, here we can just finish the assembly instruction. And that is as simple as it gets for CDS Mentor. It's just immersive learning, teaches folks how to use the the equipment they're trying to work on. So thank you. It's the end of my demo.
Very interesting to see the demo. What do you expect now from the visual market in the next year?
I think we're seeing just a take up and expansion around visual CPQ, right? There's so many applications that can benefit from it. And I think the customer base that we're talking to is recognizing that their customers, the younger folks, millennials and below, younger, they have grown up in a visual environment, right? It's all about TV, it's all about the internet and videos and so on. So I think it expand,
Excellent. And right now, I think the visual solutions provide special benefits, right? So what are the most common benefits that your customers experience?
So that's a good question, right? I think again, it's not necessarily because of the visuals. I think it's because they're unleashing those CAD assets into other places in their enterprise, right? They get the benefits of these assets to use over and over and over again in a self-serve way that just allows them to engage with their customers more, right? And there's just some stuff you just can't do, particularly in CPQ, you just can't do with a drop down, or a bar. You have to be able to move an object around or stretch an object or place something on the floor and the wall of a building, for instance, right? Super common. You don't have it. How do you do it? It's just very, very difficult.
Excellent. Now, I want to talk about one hype term that's out right now quite a bit, right? So that's artificial intelligence. So it's mostly the discussion point, the large language models and CPQ, right? So, but for you, I think it's probably more applicable to talk about integration with visual solutions like DALL-E 2. What use cases do you see for visual solutions and these AI solutions, which are more focused on visual?
Yeah, so particularly for us, right? We've found that the use case that we've seen for AI early on, and it's a big use case, is for what we call CDS Partable, which is our spare part application. Okay, spare part solution. So you think about, I have a 3D model. I'm exploring that 3D model. I can look at it and I can click on any part. And I can put that part into a commerce cart, any cart that we happen to be connected to. But there's a lot of customers. I wouldn't say a lot. Every customer we've come across on spare parts has a large number of 2D drawings. We call them 2D exploded view drawings, right? Where we've all seen these things. It's showing you how the pump is put together, your bicycle's put together, where they're going out, there's lines, there's circles. Circles have 1, 2, 3 or ABC in them. There's some table. Totally just a dead PDF document without any feedback. We can take those documents in mass. We can run them through our AI engine. The AI engine recognizes the circles or the numbers or the leader lines and attaches those to data that's either on the same page or a different page. So you now automatically have a PDF document that you bring up. You put your mouse over the number, and guess what happens? It highlights the part number, puts it into a cart, or the opposite. You put it over a description of the part number and it highlights where it is on the exploded view drawing. We're seeing a big take up for AI there. Dover has AI labs, so they're working on a whole bunch of stuff around other things in the opcos, but from a visualization perspective, that's where I see it so far. Real, and and the one thing about CDS, Frank, I just want to make sure, as you know, right, you've known us for a long time. We always are doing practical things, right? It's not build it and they will come. It's the exact opposite of build it and they will come. Customers come to us and say, I really need to solve this problem. We did this with, CTB, one of our customers, right? That was where we started doing that AI, because we saw that was a massive problem at a number of customers. And that's how CDS has grown.
Now, I think that's very interesting example, right? So, but now the last question that I have for you today is, there is a number of things I think you have to do for visual projects which are different than what you would do for a CPQ project. What are these different tasks from your perspective?
Yeah, the primary one I think is really preparing the CAD assets. That folks have these assets. They can have a lot of intellectual property in them. Okay. Even though the models can't be used in a CAD tool, you can't take a point cloud model on a browser and ever get it into a CAD engine, for instance, right? That'd be very, very, very time consuming and difficult. But I think what you need to do is you need to remove intellectual properties, what we call lighten the models, take out unnecessary geometry, internal geometry is not going to be used, and make sure those models are prepared. We can do that for our customers, or we train our customers how to do that, so the models they deliver. Because for us, as I mentioned earlier, we're always, when I say always, I'm talking about 98% of the time, our assets are coming from CAD. Yeah, occasionally we'll absorb GLTF, right, from Unity and Blender and so on and so forth, right? We're a big GLTF supporter here. But in reality, most of the assets in the world are sitting in CAD, right? So you got to prepare those assets for use.